Hello, hello, hello. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. This was kind of last minute, so I'm not really, I'm not in my StreamYard or anything. So, as you know, at least I'm imagining that you know, today marks 90 days that Sebastian has been gone. And I want to know what happened in Tennessee at the vigil. And when I say at the vigil, I don't per se mean only at the vigil. I mean that weekend. I think this is far more sordid and twisted than any of us could have imagined. And first and foremost, yeah, I took some self-care. Okay, I got some sunshine, dipped my toes in the water, and was trying to, hi Karen, how are you? And tried not to absorb a lot of this stuff. And my intent was, to kind of not focus on anything today other than, Sebastian. It's been 90 days. I mean, what else would you want to focus on? And look, I heard all the gossip and a lot of rumors, and so I have a few different segments of different videos that I would like to show you regarding all of this. And so we're going to start with Karen, was it the one about going back to, they want to go back to a place that they had a good hit on? Is that the one? If you can let me know. I am. Oh, come on. Where is. I have this. I'm just waiting on. Let's see. Oh, why don't I have her page like front and center? Yeah, so I'm trying to find her page. And there's more than one canine jewels. Here we go. Okay. So let me just touch on that because that's super important. And honestly, in the last live, I didn't even get to touch on, what Jules is out there doing with the canine handlers. So before I even get going here, I personally just want to say a huge, huge thank you to Jules and all of those that are working with her and all of the effort that they're putting in and the travel they did and all of the volunteers that are out there thanklessly searching, tirelessly searching, all of those people behind the scenes. Just thank you. Thank you from all of us who wish we could and we're not able to be there. And you're probably not hearing it enough there. So thank you. So I'm going to Okay, so I'm going to read a message from the canine handler. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Karen, and all of the other volunteers that worked so hard to organize the vigil for Sebastian. Um, and, there are people from the school and there's students that are doing things, and a whole lot of people, um, they're not doing it for credit, but you all are doing amazing things. So let me give this update from Julia Valenti. Jules, as most of us have known her as, she's the canine captain who is out there with her dog, Gator, and they're out there, and this was 3 hours ago. Good evening. I had to reschedule tonight's live. I apologize for all those I have received messages from but did not respond to yet. I will get back the moment I can. Weeks ago, I distanced myself from the families and people in close circles to them. This came after questionable parties got involved, and I was not able to jeopardize my career as an officer in the U.S. Army by being associated with these characters. It was assumed several times. It was sad because I considered some people close to the family as friends, who I enjoyed many conversations with. Like I would do in any difficult situation, I sought advice from my commanding officer. He reminded me of my passion to find justice and bring forth a promise. The same promise I make to my troops when we head out the gate over there to bring them home, all of them. I have been suspecting for the longest time that I have been getting close. I have known for the longest time there is a lot of pain and trauma associated with this case. Sebastian, Canine Ara, Canine Gator, and I are here. I'm not leaving yet. I will see you get the justice you deserve. After speaking to agencies who I met through my work experience, getting sent incredible research by a few intelligent students at the University of Tennessee, and speaking with a handful of genuine people who have discovered their voices, and I commend them for their bravery, I no longer only suspect I'm close, I genuinely feel in my heart as though I am getting close. I feel it in my gut and in my bones. I have extreme confidence in this new route, and I am going to pursue it as thoroughly as I can. However, this doesn't mean to stop sending me tips and locations. If you see me in the woods or on a search, I'm completely open to conversation and would love to discuss possible areas. I only ask one thing. If Canine Gator or Canine Ara are on an active track, please do not just walk up and pet them. Please ask first. The reason for this post is not, I say again, not to gaslight anyone. It is to explain why I may be in silent mode as I pursue this avenue, and also to tell everyone, please do not believe the rumors flying around about law enforcement. The TBI are not doing their job. I can say that they very much are. The layering surrounding this entire case has been so vast. Please have faith in the blue and do not seek out third-party services for tips. Report all tips directly to the SCSO and TBI. I will see you soon again. So it was very hard to even read that out loud and not get emotional. And I got goosebumps right now for a lot of reasons. I did posts on every platform that I used today for Sebastian, and it was only about him and what he looks like, to share his flyer, and if you have information. And I was very clear that if you have any information whatsoever regarding the case, or you think you saw something, or you think you saw him, to call 1-800-TBI-FIND. No other phone number am I sharing. So if this video on replay might get viewed somewhere down the road by somebody who does have information that pertains to this case, I tell you, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND. Don't call any numbers on handcrafted flyers. Do not call any Google Voice numbers. Do not email any emails that are not directly to TBI. They are on the flyer. If you don't have them, you comment on my video anytime and I can give you all of the emails you need to get through to TBI if that's the route you wanted to take. You can also submit tips. Don't be fooled by the trickery in some of the things I've seen online. If you need to report something anonymously because you are in fear of whatever it may be, you can still do so through TBI. Don't for a second think you have to call any other number or email any other organization. This is what the problem is, first and foremost. TBI can't do their job if all of the information is going somewhere else, number one. We've said this before because I myself have sent things to TBI. I put it right in the email. I do not expect a reply because they're not going to tell you anything. That's not what they're there for. Okay? They're not there to reassure us as to whether or not the information we gave was credible. They don't even usually say received or thank you. That doesn't mean, hi, Miss Melody. That does not mean they're not doing something with that information. It sickens me to think that credible information might be routed to the wrong place because people are choosing to make their own emails, their own phone numbers, their own Google Voice numbers, and steer information on an investigation away from law enforcement. Steering it to people who are not in any way, shape, or form law enforcement at all. They're not even licensed private investigators. They're just regular people like most of us that are receiving this pertinent information, and it's not going to law enforcement. So when people talk about, well, please don't wait 2 weeks to report if you see something or you know something. Well, some of those delays are because those, there are handcrafted flyers with other information on it. I'm seeing, thank you. Hi, Joycey. They are Nursey because I sent them all to law enforcement. I don't care if people think I'm a narc or a snitch or whatever you want to call me. Absolutely made law enforcement aware as soon as I saw that there were tip lines and emails trying to funnel the tips away from TBI. It is inappropriate. It is interfering. My understanding is this was also done by Tony Mathis on Caleb Harris's case. And what happens is then you get a video that tries to tell you what things are, or they're interpreting things, but they're not law enforcement. They don't get the ability to interpret what the evidence is, what is credible and what is not. They know way more about the case than any of us do. And we can certainly speculate and have our theories and try to evaluate things that are said. But the reality of the matter is if we prevent them from doing their job, the only person that suffers is the missing person. Well, that's the problem, is nobody should be calling information in to Seth. Nobody should call. Listen, do I think Seth harmed Sebastian? No. But do I think that the reality is none of the parents have been cleared by law enforcement. So that is us funneling, not me, but you know what I mean. It's the general public sending. Hi, Jules. I have not seen your email yet. But we did talk about you already at the beginning. And I read your statement, and we're just, we're so grateful for you. The problem is if people go and you're giving tips and leads and evidence to somebody who's not been cleared by law enforcement. Again, I'm not saying Seth did anything. He's just not law enforcement. He is not the person to be receiving that information. Tony Mathis is a salesperson for a crane company. He is not law enforcement. He is not a licensed private investigator. He should not be receiving evidence, and he should not be receiving credible tips. Okay? And the people that are fearful of speaking up most certainly are not sending that information to Tony and Seth. And I can tell you that is crystal clear based on the fact that they have seen information get twisted and released without it being vetted. And there was a lot of things said about Chloe and Heather, and Seth made comments about, Chloe was, not sharing everything with him. Well, listen, if you are going on YouTube and you're giving up every single thing that you possibly hear to the general public and tens of thousands of people, they can't give you that information. Because in the grand scheme of things, their job, even if you're paying them for it, was to find Sebastian, figure out what happened, and find him. But here's my problem. What happened the weekend of the vigil? Okay. And so I'm going to show a little bit of a clip of T-Rev's stream tonight. And before anybody even goes there, look, the point of me showing this is not because it's any of my business who that man dates, breaks up with, where he lives, any of that. That is none of my business. And anybody that wants to get involved in somebody's personal love life, I don't have time for that. Okay. The point of this is I want you to we all know, we heard from Pascal when he came back. Okay. So this is, just showing you what another person, one of the biggest allies of Seth and Sebastian, it's another one of their biggest allies. Okay. With a platform of, 76,000 people. Okay. This is my point, though. So let's just see. And again, I'm not sharing it because I don't care about his personal business. Okay.
Am I done with the Sebastian Rogers circus? People that turn this whole entire case into a straight up circus where it's the topic of everyone else but Sebastian. It's absolutely insane. And in fact, everything is turning into a circus from the teams that are out here working together,
everyone to go out and conduct circus and all that.
Circus. Hold up, let me pull this up. I'm gonna play this in a minute. But this whole entire case has became a circus to the point where I honestly am about to just push forward and move on to a whole different case. I don't want to do that. I don't want to give up on Sebastian. I want to continue to cover certain things, but there's some things that you guys don't know about that has been going on behind the scenes where, to be honest with you, it's pushing me to not want to cover this case no more. It's pushing me to not want to cover this case. And there's a lot that you guys don't know about going on behind the scenes that is making me not want to cover this case no longer. It's making me want to give up and walk away from this case right now, but I'm not going to do that. I know that we're one of the only channels on here that tries to keep it at least about Sebastian or about the people that are in Sebastian's case in the group, and we try to talk about that, right? But I don't know. People say, tell us again, it's a fucking circus. I mean, what else is not a circus? We got Tony, we have tons of different things. It's just a complete circus. A complete circus. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And not only that, let's just say this, that I feel like I'm being treated a certain way by some people because of a decision I chose to make with my own life. Why is that any of your fucking business, first of all? And second of all, if you want to listen to fabricated bullshit and not come to T-Rev and ask him yourself and get the actual real about it, then you're just as big as a clown as them. And I'm going to put it out that way, straight like that. Straight like that. I'm sick of these people. I'm sick of their agendas. I'm sick of people getting information and not following up with the information. I'm sick of all of it. There's so much shit that's been put into this case by people that I'm surrounded by, and nothing is being done.
So what he is referring to right at this moment is people, because, they were encouraged to some time ago, they were encouraged to, and they felt like T-Rev and Pascal had the direct link to Seth. I get it all the time. If I have information or I want to maybe say something, everybody says, tell T-Rev, tell Pascal, tell Terry Lynn, and they're telling me to go to these other people. And, as politely as possible, I always say, no. I want to make sure what I say gets to where it needs to be. But his point is early on, people were encouraged, and they were then told, if you get something to these people, they'll get it to me. So then they people were sending tips and, whatever to T-Rev, and I am imagining it happens with other creators too. And that information was then sent to Seth and Tony. But then it was reported back to him that the information was not being followed through on. Okay? So this kind of ties with what happens when you're sending any information you think is relevant to somebody, a YouTube creator, to a Craneworks salesperson, or anybody else other than law enforcement. This is what happens. Okay? And we watched the whole apology tour of information that was sent in to Tony and Seth, and it was just spouted out all over the void, and then it had to be scaled back because it was inaccurate information. Okay? Because it was released. wasn't vetted through law enforcement. And the thing is it never, if it's nonsense and BS, they'll tell you. If it's something legitimate, they're going to use that information and do what they need to do with it.
There's so much toxic BS in this case. Yes. Oh, I know they're more worried about creating their own narrative than finding Sebastian. And that's the part about this whole entire thing that is pissing me off. Like, instead, I don't know. Instead, it turns back to talking about other people, their past, who they are, what's going on, or, this, that, and the third. You said Seth has to see this. I'm done with the bullshit. I don't care who sees this. You could put this in front of anyone. I'm done. He said, we don't give up. And when it comes to missing childhood that everyone let down, now the world can't let him. No, I'm saying I'm done with the circus. I'm not working with anyone in this case no more. I'm doing my own shit. Leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Don't reach out to me and try to disrespect me. I will block you. No, I'm done with the circus. I'm telling you this right now. I want to bring up several different things because people are bringing in my personal life, which has absolutely nothing to do with Sebastian. Way you said what? You put more than 1,000 hours?
This is like a bad family enmeshment situation when
it's not anything to do with me.
Yeah, that's not fair. To be doxxed, blamed, treated like shit, disrespected. People are. Well, you said don't cover the drama.
When you have, the people getting so attached to YouTube people that they don't personally know, that they feel that they are their family and that they should trust them implicitly more than their own common sense, frankly. And I'm not saying anybody is or isn't untrustworthy. It's just we aren't the place. If I got an email or any communication that was credible information to anybody's case ever, I would immediately send it to law enforcement. I have no qualms about sending things to law enforcement if I believe it is a strong detriment to the case. Do I believe in wasting their time? No. I don't think it's worth wasting their time. But I do think having these other forms steering possible pertinent information away from law enforcement was worth sharing.
Drama, just cover anything that comes new. Exactly, Robin. And that's where I'm at with it. It's honestly frustrating. And I'm not I'm just coming on here. I'm venting.
And that's one thing I noticed too, man. I noticed that this case started with a missing boy, and it's escalated into a circus. I mean, you got two parents that stay in an RV and don't ever get out, and don't ever search for the boy. They stay in there. They avoid any contact with anybody. But yet they act like that they missed their child. Well, how come I don't see them out doing anything? And something isn't adding up, and I feel like the three suspects that were named in the beginning of the case should tell us the damn truth. Where's Sebastian? Where's he being hit? Where's he at?
Man, this has not been watching because too heavy. Use your talents. Thank you, advocate for you. I appreciate you. Thank you. It's frustrating to me. But shout out to him. Thank you, advocate for you. I don't know, man. I'm just tired of the circus. I'm tired of the circus, and people better watch the way that they talk to certain people that are in my life. Like you disrespect who I'm with, and you're disrespecting me. Point blank, period. You said it's hurt, it's bad. You said if it's hurting you, back off. Yes. That's exactly what it's about. He said only the real people that care stick around and not give up. Yeah. It's true. But I mean, if you knew, hold up, you said what? Yeah, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. But I'm telling you that it makes me want to walk away. I'm not giving up. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to continue to do exactly what we're doing. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Oh, he said Sebastian. Oh, he's Sebastian, all of that. I want someone to pay for this case. Please stay. Sebastian needs us. I want you
being found. I mean, look at the situation here.
and that's where I'm getting at.
You've already went to a vigil. You are here 100% committed to finding Sebastian, and I feel like there have been certain roadblocks in.
When my mind's in a whole different place. I don't think you guys deserve that.
Okay, so one of the things that is, well, there's a few things with this. Okay, number one is that well, all right, so Faith, to help with this one, even I have had these moments, but I really haven't, kind of directly said it. Sweet Tea with Don B, who's one of my favorites, he has said it. And I think, Pascal has said it, even if he says he didn't say it. A lot have said it. I've thought it more than maybe said it. And I think what the point is that it is incredibly stressful. It is incredibly frustrating sometimes. It's exhausting. And, for some people, and I'm going to include myself primarily, I guess I am talking about myself, it can be so emotionally taxing when you think about all of the things going on with this case, that, you feel like I just got to walk away. And instead of like maybe professing it to everybody, what I do is I really take a day or two and I just I focus on maybe other missing persons, or I just, get some self-care in, because it is infuriating. But what we're seeing here is people coming in late in the game. People are seeing what I've been talking about for I don't even know how long. And it's beyond me. It's beyond the pale that certain things are just not so obvious. Like, this is the thing. Like, this is what I mean. Some of these people literally had to go all the way to Tennessee for it to sink in that bringing a felon from Texas to Tennessee who just wanted to grift off everybody was a bad idea. And what I think is happening here is you had all these people who have these long distance relationships, okay? And they're all in their own little states, okay? Tony's over here in Oklahoma. T-Rev was up in Indiana. I don't know where Pascal lives. You have Seth in Tennessee, and you have, all these people that are communicating, and it's all text messages and phone calls and videos, and then they get together, okay? And I think you go there with these thoughts that it's going to be just amazing. It's going to be so amazing. And then you get there and you realize, wait a minute, this really is the shit show that everybody else is talking about. Like they had to see it in person. And what's really bothersome, though, is that I think something happened that weekend. I think schemes or like other, like, what they're really up to, okay? Their little shenanigans. I think they were revealed. And I think that they thought some of these people that came were going to be willing participants. And I think that they were floored by it. And I think at some point we'll find out what they know. And there will be, I think, another apology tour to Trevor Lee, Chloe, Heather. I think it'll come at some point, and it should come from creators who said horrible things. And what is alarming is the amount of people, though, that are teetering on the fence with not wanting to give exposure anymore because of all the things it brings. Okay, so look at this situation with T-Rev. I'm not getting all up into it or anything like that, okay? But, the truth of the matter is who he is dating, what he's doing in his personal life. Yes, I've watched it all, okay? It is not relevant to Sebastian. It might be relevant to those people who follow him and support him before and beyond Sebastian in general as a creator, and that is their decision if what they want to believe and what they want to subscribe to. Everybody, those are people's own decisions. The reality, though, is when you see what the damage is that this crew can do to somebody's life who, now he's in Tennessee, but before this, he wasn't even in Tennessee. What he can do to someone's life, okay? And then you think about anybody who wants to participate in a meaningful way with credibility or credentials. And do you think they want to get involved in this case when they're seeing what damage Tony is and the whole crew, what they are doing to people on a personal level, what they have been doing to people's careers, reputations, of good people, local people who were there before them and will be there after them? Do you think what this is deterring so many people from helping, from bringing resources, from support, from awareness, all the valuable things that are necessary to actually find Sebastian? Today was 90 days, okay? I made my first TikTok today because the only reason I'm on there is to see what nefarious things these people are up to. But I decided, okay, 90 days, if it is this big of a platform, listen, I will share about Sebastian. So I did that. That's it. That's all I did. Didn't talk about anything else. Didn't say, hey, this is who I am. Click on me, like me, subscribe to me, nothing. Okay? You go on Sebastian's Army's page, and it is the only thing you see publicly there is the vigil graphic, and the vigil's over now. That's it. There isn't anything for you to go there and share. Go there and read informative information about Sebastian. You can't even, I mean, it's not even like it's his TBI flyer. It's terrible. You would think Seth would see what's happening, but I'm really concerned about basically everybody, and I'm concerned because of what it is doing for the hope for Sebastian. And who was... Oh, okay. So Stephen Crabtree, who everyone knows, you know, he put out the misinformation, they corrected the situation. But this is what I mean, though. Everybody's coming around. I left YouTube once I had 32. I literally made a video just as professionals come back, step up, speak up. Yep. So even Stephen Crabtree, who, you know, didn't want to badmouth anybody, is seeing the
Hey
light.
guys, if I can clear this up real quick. So I've been asked if I'm still going to be involved with searching for Sebastian, and doing the search team stuff. I absolutely am. Just not tied to Tony and them. If you want to be a part of it, I will do a live about this. I've been calling several other search and rescue certified teams that are in Tennessee, because I mean, why not? We're here in Tennessee. I think that what kills me is even looking at the Tony stuff and telling people we're going to get a search and rescue together and stuff, and this is where we're at today. Still nothing, right? I can tell you actively that Chloe, the old PI, is tied to a search organization that, and I don't mean to say that wrong, it may be wrong, that they are actively still searching to this day, right? And so my thing is if we can come together collectively, figure out this is what we need to do, find a team that's local to Tennessee that is certified, that absolutely can do this, to maybe help, you know, Chloe and their team. And, you know, I don't want to be tied to any part of the organization that's going on with Tony, Seth, and everybody else. To be honest with you, I think the best thing was to remove myself from that situation, because I want to help. I want to, you know, do whatever I can to help bring Sebastian home. At the end of the day, I think many of us do. But this was swaying in a different direction. And I'm still trying to understand that you come on platforms and we talk about getting search teams put together, and here we are 3 weeks later, still where we was. You know, you see what I'm saying? But yes, to answer that question, I'm actively looking. I've still got all this stuff put together. This is no dig at Nina. I think Nina is a great person. I'm just personally, it makes more sense to get a local certified search team in here to do all this, to be able to push for this. And if you actively want to be a part of this, what I would say, push to see if, you know, we've had a lot of rain. We've had a lot of stuff come in. I mean, hell, we've got storms this coming in this weekend. And a lot of...
Here's the point. Here's the ally who is like, okay, you know, I participated in this clique, and we put out all this information because they all put out misinformation. Okay, all of them. And wait a minute. Wait. Okay. Wait, they caught us. Okay. Wait. And then we apologize. Okay. Now he made numerous apology videos. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. And now more has clearly transpired, because when you go against them, this is like the mafia, guys. When you go against them, you're in trouble. And everything bad is going to start happening to you. And what is he saying? He's not saying anything I wasn't saying a month ago, more than that maybe. Like, y'all keep saying you're doing stuff. You aren't doing anything but trying to get money out of people. We don't need this felon woman coming up from Texas. Like, hey, send me an email. I'll give you a list of resources that are legitimate. I'm not sure which platform that is, Karen, because there's more than one. There is more than one. It is like, and I hate TikTok. I don't like TikTok. I don't like Snapchat. I don't like things that disappear. Put it that way. I've always been that way. I have a teenage son, and when he started, that's how these kids communicate, and they're snapping pictures of the ceiling and then they're sending them. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, I don't like things that disappear. I don't like it. There's no accountability in that. If you're going to make statements, own it. Just own it. Doesn't mean, we can all be right and wrong, okay? But own it. Oh my gosh. And I'm 41, and I have listened to various types of music all over my 41 years. I have used curse words in my 41 years, but I'm now, a mother of a teenager and a 5-year-old. And I can't put on some of these, or, and some of them I have to listen to get to like the point, but I'm just mortified that people are even allowed to say some of the things that they say. And they're talking about, I'm not going to repeat it, but I could not believe the stuff I was hearing. It was disgusting. There's, zero chance. Half the time when the stuff I listen to, I can walk around my house and maybe, have it on low while I'm doing dishes or something. And I'm not really worried, but I can't turn on none of that stuff until everybody's asleep, because it's ridiculous. I mean, have respect for yourself. Have respect for the people that are listening. And I mean, it's foul, and it's not just like regular cussing. I mean, the stuff they talk about doing and things like that. I mean, it's absolutely gross. It's awful. We don't have any new information, Karen. I have no doubt law enforcement is getting new information every single day. This is kind of the theme I have been talking about every few days. The shrinking resources, the shrinking attention on Sebastian, and the more the sideshows continue, the more the people who are doing it, for the right reasons, everybody just backs away because it's too much. It's ridiculous. I get blocked from groups I don't even talk in. I don't even talk in them. They just know that maybe I'm talking about them in a way that they don't like, and I get blocked from the groups. But I'm not a combative person, and anybody who's been on my channel long enough knows I try to be not combative. And, I'm not having to boot people out or anything like that. We're not getting into screaming matches or anything of the sort. There's people involved in Sebastian's case that I have communicated with, who I don't know if they follow my channel or not, but I have communicated with them through other, email and Facebook Messenger, and I have not one time have I come on here and said I'm talking to this person, I'm doing anything with this person, or this person told me this. Because it doesn't matter what the only reason I am talking to those people is trying to be a resource or a help, not because I'm trying to pry anything out of them. I'm just trying to give any insight, or any suggestions, things like that. But I don't want to pry into the people that are helping. I don't want to pry into the family members any more than they've already been into. We know more. I probably know more about this family than I know about my own family. I know about all the half the skeletons in the closet. And it did, in a sense, shine a light. Lee running on family. Maybe Karen S. knows, because she's I think in Tennessee. Karen A. Maybe Karen S. Maybe you know the answer to Karen A.'s question. But the more and more I'm seeing of these videos and things like that, like, look, I'm not stupid. I'm well aware of what's really being said or what's really going on, or what, because one person says one thing, then it's probably another. But I try to keep my mind on what that, some of the stuff is just not my business. And even, all the groups, it's the same thing over and over. And you have the loyalties, and there's so much effort out there to explain why you support Seth, why you support Chris and Katie, why you support Tony, why you support Pascal, why you support T-Rev. What about Sebastian? Today was 90 days. Like, there should be honor and some dignity and some respect, and just the circulation of his face, and just that awareness over and over and over again. Because even if it sounds repetitive, you have to understand there are 50 states, and there are still, even if there is 100,000 people following this case, there's so many people that have no idea about this case. Okay. And I've been, working on, I've already talked about, the resources that are between support groups to other credentialed, valuable, real, existing, well-established, reputable organizations. But the thing is, I said this in my last stream, is some of these organizations will not come if you do not, hold hold on one second, Rocco. These organizations won't come if you don't give them the okay. They want the parents or law enforcement to give them the go ahead to come. And if they're not getting that, they don't come. Rocco, I listened to, I believe it was Queen Bee. Is that the one you're talking about? Chris was on and then he got off and then Katie came on for a very long time. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. That was actually why I also needed a break. A little self-care was because that was a very emotional, it's a very emotional thing for me to listen to. And if you had never, been aware of this case and that had been the only interview you had heard, it's really hard. It would be really hard to imagine that anything was going on in that home except, a Donna Reed, perfect family life. And, but there were so many parallels that she talked about Sebastian that made me think of my son, from the Starbucks cake pops, to the hatred of carbonated drinks. My son will not drink soda. He does not like anything carbonated. He just turned 16 5 days ago. There were so many things that I draw the parallels to. The Minecraft and some of the books and things like that. It was incredibly emotional for me. Because you hear that and you definitely start thinking about, I think about my own son, and I don't even know how I could talk about those things and keep my composure. I would be too emotional. My son did turn 16, and I'm a cornball, and whenever I do anything with gifts, Christmas, birthdays, whatever, they're going to get what they want. There's always a super sentimental gift I always have to give people. I always have to include some sentiment, and so I wrote and framed up a poem for my son, and being somebody who's turning 16, I just kind of sat in the other room, and I just kind of thought, he's just going to be like, Mom, you're so lame. Like, what's wrong with you? And he clearly read it 3 times in a row and was trying to contain his emotions. And I'm trying to contain my emotions. And you could just tell he was so, just emotional about it, and it just made me and then it was after that I heard her interview, and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, my son is here with me, and I wrote that poem for him, and it was over days, and it's not like it was really long. It was just, I just start getting all mushy and goopy, and I thought, after I listened to the interview, because the whole time I'm listening, I'm like, how do you believe listening to all this? How can you imagine this woman doing anything? She sounds like me. She sounds like you. She sounds like all of us. It sounds so whatever. And then it was like way later after the fact, I thought to myself, okay, but if he wasn't here and I had to talk about those things, I couldn't not be, super emotional. And, at this point, I believe right now they're actually back in their house right now. And I just thought, how, you know? But there it wasn't for nothing, because there were actually some good ideas that came out of listening to that. There was boosted paid Facebook posts, which my page, on Facebook, I am able to do that from. So that was an idea that I thought was good, was I could, create an ad with, a handful of these. Yeah, yes. Couldn't I create, something for, a handful of these missing children, and then, just pay to boost it in certain areas. So I thought that was a really good idea. Whether or not it could get to a place of sporting event, screens, I don't know. But I definitely, I have heard lots of people now talking about how I was talking about before, the fairs and different events, having a table with flyers and things like that. So I'm happy, because a lot of people are talking about that. And I think that means that maybe, people will start doing that, and not just in Tennessee, but in other places for other families. But, there are processes, and, well, if you listen to what I gathered from the TREF thing, is what I heard is, there's a theory. Their theory is, that, and I don't want to say it was his theory. It might have been his friend that was on there that said it. I can't remember which one said it. But on that video, they say, now I have to wonder if these three are like working together, maybe, and keeping him off, the grid, for financial gain. I don't really believe that. Do I believe there's financial gain and issues with that now? Yes. I don't think that was anything thought of in the beginning. And I don't know. You get mixed up with the wrong people, and that's it. My hope is that the platforms and the voices are just shut down. And even, I said this the other day, even if there is nobody looking in the family for Sebastian, that doesn't mean anybody else should stop. I just, I talk about other people who are missing, and nobody is looking for them, nobody at all. And it is sickening to me, just physically makes me sick. And if people keep acting the way they do, then, before you know it, this is what's going to happen. Well, and I think, Vivian, what bothered me is, that things got really, really nice and sweet in the very, once the parents were brought on the platform. But before that, they were no better than anybody else with the negative talk. Yeah, and I don't think anything at the vigil was financial related, and the MC club, like, there's nothing, they weren't out there doing anything. They made it very clear even before the ride that, as far as the ride went, they weren't like trying to take donations or anything like that. The event was, and that's the problem, Karen, is, because I think, there were creators that came, and because Tony drove there to go, I think it took away, and it's unfortunate because I think it took away from the good work that everybody did, but I did hear it was still a good turnout, and the reality of it is, everybody has the right to honor someone and pray for someone, and no different than we have the rights to protest and things like that. Some things that are right and good, we just have to continue to do regardless of who else doesn't want to participate. And I say this all the time, in life it's about showing up. And, we just have to try to keep showing up in whatever little way we can for Sebastian and all of these other missing children and teenagers and adults. And there's always a way that everybody can help, whether it's you in your own community took 10 flyers and posted them at gas stations, or at your local truck stop that's close to interstate bypass, or you were able to do a table at a fair or an event in your own community that, had, 6 faces on it that people can just take a flyer. And if there are people out there that are not like super tech savvy, or, they don't have those abilities or things like that, and you need help, or, you're just like, hey, well, in my community, I live in this state and I would love to have, for people's flyers to, bring to this thing that I'm going to, and you need those sent to you, I can email them, or I could, print and mail you copies, because I have tons of them. I mean, I just did another video. I haven't posted it yet of, another round of, I can't even tell you this time. I might have gotten like 20 people's flyers on this video. So yes, and Karen S is saying she is happy to meet anyone that's local and give as many flyers as you're willing to hand out. I also know that there are many businesses, they have copy machines. If you went into your local bank, or, there are a lot of small businesses that are very deeply entrenched in their communities. If you, were to walk in there and just say, hey, could I have like 10 copies of this? I'm sure they would be happy to do that. Or if you were like, hey, can I email you this flyer? Would you be able to print me like 10? And maybe you ask that of like 5 small businesses, 10 pieces of paper, it all adds up. Knights of Columbus, there's Lions clubs, there's veterans organizations. But I know, for having a small business, like I said, if anybody ever wanted to put something in my window, or on my door, or, just needed something printed like that, like it was just a no-brainer. Like, okay, just email it to me, or, just, my secretary can make copies of that right now. It's no big deal. Or you need a basket for a raffle. Let's go. So there are, a lot of small businesses that are always just really excited to help those in those ways. And, grocery stores all over the place usually have glass cases where they allow you to post local information, or the larger gas stations usually have bulletin boards. And I'm a fan of like the truck stops and the larger travel gas stations that are always by on ramps to highways, because that's where you get people who are getting out and off the highway, or maybe coming or going to another area. But whenever, to me, at a minimum, when you think about, okay, if somebody's missing and they're in Tennessee, at a minimum, I think you should collaborate with all the states that touch your state, at a minimum, because you don't know where they could be, if they were taken, if they were transported in a vehicle, if somebody hitchhiked. You don't know. Yes, emailing corporate offices, emailing. There's law enforcement agencies even that, in your own state that doesn't, necessarily know about, some of the missing people. Emailing, hospitals, clinics, especially, I always say hospitals, because if somebody ever comes in an emergency room, and their flyers there, but I also always say, like trucking organizations, they can, email it out to their drivers and they have it right on their phone. Yes. I am going to look, I have heard a lot of talk about this Bullhorn Betty woman. And I've, like I said, I just really don't try to put myself in YMCA, chambers of commerce. Yes. Yep. And I do have, the video of her talking with Tony, and I have not, oh, wait, no, another creator recorded it, so I can watch it. I had just started watching it, and then I was like, okay, yet again. Oh, thank you, Vivian. I thought, again, we're bringing on another person, and the reality is, just right here in chat, we came up with how many ideas to spread awareness. And, you have a public relations person who is just not spreading the awareness. Well, Brianna, I've not ever heard that, and I think I was possibly wrong, because Chris said early on that law enforcement told him not to search, and I thought that is just absolutely asinine. Let somebody try and stop me. But then I saw something like recently, this is obviously like 2 months later, where Seth said the same thing. And so, I figured, okay, now they don't even like each other right now, and they both said it. So it must have actually been said. And I can't believe it. I guess, Kara, I guess that's, you don't want to find your deceased loved one. I guess, that could make sense. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense, Melody. Maybe not initially, because the reality is if law enforcement pulls back, and they do in every case at some point, they pull back. You can't. How could you just leave it and do nothing? I'm sure they want you to have good organizations doing it too, but you couldn't keep me away. It just wouldn't be possible. I just couldn't. Um, but I do know, you know, my next live wasn't supposed to be this. My next live was supposed to be about, um, a lot of the failures of various systems and organizations, and maybe procedures and processes and things like that. And um, I I guess this is the first time I think I've ever heard where they said, um, but Karen, that's where my mind was just going right now, is if it's foul play, evidence is not admissible if the parent finds it. And if you've not been cleared, I could see that would make sense. They don't want you out there because, well, look what's happening right now. There's mysterious evidence popping up. Is it connected? Is it not connected? Was it planted? And I don't necessarily mean a parent was planting it, but a lot of people could be, planting things. But the searching law enforcement did within first for you. You will have never seen as much in a case. Well, yeah, I don't know, Kara. I mean, I do know what they did. I guess, Kara, I draw a lot of parallels here with this case and the case for Elijah Boo, and where law enforcement is at with their search efforts and the things they're doing in that case in a smaller community versus a larger community there, and how quickly they pulled back there, because both kids virtually went missing about the same time, and there are still active searches by law enforcement, and they're using all sorts of those very same technologies. Um, I don't dispute what they did, but I also don't have any qualms about saying that I'm continue to this day to be bothered by the lack of searching by law enforcement, and how quickly they pulled back. It was rather early in a case. Um, and so I draw some parallels. I don't believe that they don't have an investigation. I don't believe they're not doing their job, but I do believe that they could have been doing searches still. Obviously not to the degree that they did in the very beginning. But I do draw the parallels between the two because, it is a very small community versus a larger community population wise. And I also think that, I do say this again, what the cases are, I guess, are treated a little differently, in the sense that in the Elijah Vu case, there's definitely a whole lot more of volunteers that are still actively going out, and having meeting places. It's not super public, but similar to what was happening where they would say, you know, they're meeting at, I think it was, what was it? Ruggers or the Rudder. An EquiSearch came on recently and said that they wanted to come back. But they needed well, Brianna, the reality is I listened to the interview that Chris and Katie gave. It wasn't even an interview, it was a conversation. And everybody is making a really big deal out of everything that they said. And to be honest with you, it really wasn't anything, you know, I just wasn't finding it to be like this big brouhaha that it was being made out to be. And, you know, so yeah. And that's why, you know, one of the reasons I, you know, do draw the parallels is because where Elijah Vu went missing, which is, you know, there's the shores of Lake Michigan, and the small town is, you know, it's along Lake Michigan. So, you know, there's, you know, tons of dense forestry. There's cliffs, you know, but you also had, at the time, you know, you had ice covered ponds, lakes, Lake Michigan, parts of it were frozen. Very, you know, these are very, both places are just very treacherous places. And, you know, having lived somewhere where it's like, you know, I know what it's like to go in the woods and the marsh and with the, you know, ticks and the mosquitoes and, you know, there's animals and depending on the time of year, you know, you could fall through ice and things like that. Like there is some real treacherous landscape in both areas. You know, I wish that they would do additional searching outside of Hendersonville. However, that being said, as I said to Jules, you know, somebody on the ground there might know more than I know. And if they're not feeling the need to go outside, then, you know, you got to trust that they know better, you know? Custody hearing, CPS reporting Chris family outing, blackout at house, security cameras not working. It's not what they were saying, it's their actions. Well, Karen, you're absolutely correct. And I've said that before. You can't expect, you know, live streamed searches and well, for the same reason they wouldn't want, you know, maybe a parent searching the first 48 hours. You know, I've said this before, you don't want to be on a live stream and you walk up, God forbid, on, you know, something horrific. Second of all, it can create safety issues. And so I don't think they should live stream it. And if anybody feel like, okay, here's a great example. Chloe, I believe she is out there searching. I believe there are plenty of wonderful local people that are out there and they're searching, and they are not broadcasting where they're going, what they're doing. And that's okay. Because if I were them, I would probably wouldn't want anybody knowing either, because what happens, this situation is weird. You got people, plastering faces everywhere, planting possible evidence, all sorts of things. So I have a lot of faith in the volunteers that are out there working tirelessly, thanklessly, behind the scenes, not in front of cameras, not on social media. I absolutely believe that they are the heart and soul of the mission to find Sebastian. No one mentions Operation Protecting Tomorrow and how that could be a part of, or have been a part. Who knows? Operation Tomorrow. I have no idea what Operation Tomorrow is. I have no idea what Operation Tomorrow is. Seth went on Smiley, bombed, and then now probably puts her on YouTube. Island, yeah, it is a pattern. It certainly is a pattern. One side inflames everything, then the other side can come and be calm, and then it reverses. But it's all disgraceful because I just look at the families of all these other missing people, all these other people who have missing kids, and they're not doing this stuff. They are not doing the things that are happening in this case. And to me, it's because they don't want the attention on anything other than their child. And it is sad that anybody has to be reminded of that. Well, okay. So to sum everything up here, regarding what happened, the reality is none of us know what happened. Everybody in here has come to their own personal thought or theory. And unless there is any new information, most aren't going to change their theories, whatever it is, whether you believe he ran away, whether you believe, someone came in and abducted him, whether you believe he was harmed, so I don't, as far as, Chris can go back to work and pay the bills. There's no doubting about that. She could have, in my opinion, went and stayed with someone or in a hotel or something to that effect. But I don't believe it was appropriate. And I really, this is my opinion, and, it is what it is. I cannot, as a mother who has, especially one that has been in their shoes, I cannot comprehend how you could leave the place if you believe your child ran away. I cannot fathom how you could leave the one place you would come back to, especially him being autistic. And that is my opinion. Not to say people doesn't. Yeah, I can't wrap my mind around it. Now, Chris is the step parent, and if he had to go to work, he could go to work. I can't fathom what she did. I can't fathom what any of them are doing. Any of them, all of them. I can't fathom it. And at this point in time, I don't have a whole lot of respect for any of their behaviors, any of them. Whether they did anything harmful or not, just on the actions as parents, I don't have much respect for them at this point. The reality is, thank God for the good people that do care, that are doing everything that they can out there, because somebody has to. Because it's not being, and it's an unusual case where it is not spearheaded by the parents. It is not the parents who are the boots on the ground, stomping through the mud and the sticks and all of that. So I hope that if any more legitimate resources can be brought in, that they are welcomed with open arms, that everybody on YouTube and TikTok and whatever, don't attack them for coming and helping. Let them come in and do their job. And, like I keep saying, to stop the madness, because the drama gets fueled the more of the watching of it, the more of the sharing of it, the more of you watched it, then you shared it, then you went into 5 Facebook groups and you talked about, who's sleeping with who, and, who leaked this call and whatever and all of that. And, it in the end, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Wait, I am so confused. Can you fathom some crazy person breaking in and doing harm to a mother who has a child missing because she was afraid to leave her home if advised by law enforcement? She should do what internet says, not law. Okay, now I follow. Look, I don't know if law enforcement told them to not search for 2 days or forever, or why they told them that. If they didn't want them near things for whatever reason. I don't know why. Seth did at a point search. So, I don't know. I don't know. And could they have I mean, I guess I don't know. I can't understand why law enforcement, your child's been gone for 90 days and they're telling you not to search for him. The reality of that would be they'd have to throw me in jail. 'Cause look, I've been there. I have been there. And when, when they tell you they're not going to do an Amber Alert for your child or something, like that kind of stuff, you do your own. You do your own. They tell you they're not going to do things, you do it yourself. And that to me is a natural instinct. But I can't make her choices or Seth's choices or Chris's choices, what they have done or not done. They have to live with it. I don't respect it, but I'm sure they don't care if I respect their decisions or not. But just because I don't respect their decisions doesn't mean I would pull up at their house and harass them or follow them around with a video camera or stalk them or whatever, because if at any point in time they decided they did want to search, I wouldn't want to deter them from that. Well, Karen, you're right. I think the problem, one of the problems is, look, everybody can blame all the creators, but I am seeing more and more creators, maybe not some of the really foul-mouthed ones, but a lot of the other creators, I do see them slowly trickling to other cases, okay? So, we can't pretend that, Seth and Tony, a lot of Tony, are creating more of this distraction. And in the beginning, it was, well, Chris is creating all these distractions. He's calling, he's screaming, he's yelling, he's, berating everybody. And now it's, on the other side. And the whole thing is disgraceful to me, that anybody could do any of this stuff when their child is missing, that their mind could be on anything else, that they would have any time to be doing hours and hours of streams and stuff like that, and talking to podcasters and all of that stuff when their child is missing. I don't know. I couldn't do it. And I said it, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. All you gotta do is a 1.5-minute pre-recorded video with the description of your son and all of these things, and you share it. Cause my understanding is that is now not happening. I don't know if her vehicle didn't get fixed. I don't know if there were just not enough people that would work with her, and that's why, but from what I understand, she will now not be coming Saturday. I don't know what the truth is there. I don't believe anybody on anything anymore. At this point, I keep saying, anybody needs, the searching, the expanding of the searches, the sharing of the flyer. If the drama would calm down and some of this nasty people would get out of the way, maybe there are other people out there that have information that would be willing to come and speak if some of this nonsense would go away. Because it's not easy when you have people just blatantly threatening just blatantly threatening, to just rip people's lives apart, for just speaking out. Joseph, yeah, I did too. I talked about that in the beginning. It was actually pretty emotional for me listening to it. It just reminds me a whole lot of my own son. Um, you know, um, there are people there on the ground, and I think, I'm anxious to see what happens with Jules and their team and what they're working on and where this is going to go. It's probably the most hopeful news that I've felt in a long time reading her update. And I hope that they don't look. I think she's brave and she's so far not been scared off. And I think it's important to just continue. It was actually my daughter at 3 years old. But no, my son is this. Well, he just turned 16, but was the same age as Sebastian, and just everything a lot of the stuff she said about Sebastian just reminded me of my son. But it was actually my 3-year-old daughter. But the focus should just be, hey, what can anybody do to help? What can we do? And if you don't have any ability to do anything, the flyer is just, repetitious, just, that's what you can do. It's something. But yes, my daughter is safe, and my daughter is with, is home and alive and well. And that was 2 years ago. So yes, but yeah, no, I don't want to scare anybody. I was very lucky, when you consider what some of the other families are going through, and the outcomes that they have to face. Terry Lynn was at the carnival tonight. Well, Karen, like I've said this a lot. A lot of people don't know how they would react because a lot of people don't get. A lot of families that have missing loved ones out there right now don't even get a tenth of the coverage that this case has had, and that's why I try to remain conscious of others as well, other people that are missing, because it is, what in the heck? That is weird. There was a guy who did carnival stuff that claimed to fix autistic kids. He had a video up about Sebastian last month. That is weird. That is disturbing. Wait, sent me an email about? Huh? What? Am I missing some emails or something? Because Jules said she emailed me and I don't see it. And Joseph, did you email me? Because why am I not seeing it? Because Jules said she emailed me too, and I emailed me, and I am not seeing an email from her either. This is crazy. Oh, okay. 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 Okay, good. I didn't miss it. But Jules said earlier that she asked me if I saw her message, and I didn't. I don't have an email from her. Interesting. Yeah, Karen, it is. It's eye-opening, and I've been trying to get a lot of thought in lately to, what kind of drives one to the other and not the other. I started to watch a video today on another channel of Nina talking in a car. The good one or the bad Nina? Good Nina, bad Nina? I can't picture good Nina doing a video in her car, so I'm guessing. And I think it could have been on her, was it on TikTok? Maybe I'll try to look for it. That's just weird. That is just really creepy and weird. But there've been there's been some creepy guys in this case that have popped up from various states and just being really weird and creepy. And then I listened to Deception Detective today on the Don Wells and all that disgusting stuff, and I am just like, ugh, just really creeped out by some things people say and do, and it makes you want to wrap your kids in bubble wrap. Smiley doesn't delete her stuff, so I'm sure it's still there. But sometimes, a lot of people don't do this, but sometimes you have to, some people's stuff, it could be on under the video tab, or it could be under the live stream tab. So sometimes it depends on if she was streaming live or if it was recorded later. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Ugh. The sickness. The fact that some of these awful sick people are out there roaming free. Thank you for joining, and thank you for everything you did for the vigil and everything you're doing out there in the community to help find Sebastian. Karen, thank you very much, and you have a great night too. It's just pretty gross thinking about how many killers are walking free, abusers, sick people who have done some of these sick, gross things. I mean, honestly, like if you just listen to just a little bit of Don Wells should be enough to have to lock them up. I mean, it's just so sickening. Yeah. Oh. Mm. Oh. But see, now they are infiltrating these like really gross. They are infiltrating, these groups they perceive as weak. Um, it's they're just gonna prey on anyone. And in my opinion, carnivals are, and I do love fairs. I love fairs. I love fair food. Um, but I think for sure like those are like, man, don't take your eyes off your kids. Oh my gosh. But yeah, well, that's what we got for tonight. It is getting super late and I am super tired. But yeah, I will try to check that. Try to find that video that you were talking about, and let's see if I can find it. I'm curious if she addresses why she's not coming. Yeah, you're right. I actually shared that with Sweet Tea and Don B. Or I asked him if he hadn't heard about it, so I told him if you are not aware of the. Now I understand when you say Operation Protecting Tomorrow, when you say TBI in the press release, it's all coming together now. Yeah, TBI made a big bust in Tennessee, and you can go on the TBI website and learn about what they did there. And in Wisconsin, they did some big busts, and it's, you just got to know it doesn't matter where you live. This stuff is getting worse, and it is like, it just doesn't matter where you are. Nobody's immune to it. It's just getting worse. So just got to figure out better ways to combat this. But they have been making a lot of big busts throughout the Midwest as well. So they're out there and they're trying to find these people and they're trying to stop them. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's, some actively missing children from Tennessee that were victims of the people that they, arrested. All right, guys. Well, I am going to leave you guys to it. And I thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in tonight. And if you have not already, if you can just share Sebastian's flyer, whether it's on YouTube, your Facebook, or your Instagram, or somewhere, just to get his face out. 90 days today. So whether you're spiritual or religious and you pray, whatever you can do to just put some good thoughts out there for Sebastian and all the people that are working to try to get him home and find him, and all the searchers. So, Until next time, all of you guys take care, and yes, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and hopefully everybody does something to just get a little self-care in, okay? And I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.